Alright, hi everybody, this is Dale from IGN Southeast Asia. Today I'm joined by a very special guest. This is Joseph Teng from Nimbus Games. So please, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Joseph from Nimbus Games. I am the producer for Nimbus Games. I'm also sort of like the founder as well. We've been at this for a little over a year and a half.
So let's talk about your career in gaming and the rise of Nimbus Games.
Okay, we actually started making games in 2016. And we were not called Nimbus Games back then. We were called Eldritch, inspired by like Lovecraftian horror and octopus and tentacles and whatnot. Yeah, we started making mobile games, trying to make like uncanny, quirky, kind of funny games. But it was mainly just for mobile. But we kind of figured that the mobile market just wasn't really, conducive for that kind of games that we're making. Right, so, and it takes a lot of, I would say, resources, marketing resources, to just get your game out there, to just get users, right? So we sort of wanted to make a pivot to something else, right? We were looking at consoles, we were also looking at PC. And I think around the end of 2019, when the pandemic kind of was ramping up, right? And a lot of like physical venues were kind of getting banned and stuff like that. So previously I was actually an escape room designer. Right, an escape room designer and of course escape room owner as well. So I had a few escape rooms throughout the country. So I just thought, maybe we can just, merge these two ideas together. And I have a love for gaming and I design escape rooms. So let's do that, right? We have some of the capabilities. My brother, who is a programmer, so we kind of just got the idea to do that. Started in 2019, we came up with some kind of a prototype by the middle of 2020, right? We had a prototype. I think you played the prototype for Malice, right? And then we sort of rebranded into Nimbus Games because it's just easier to say. Yeah.
All right, cool. So that's how you guys made Malice.
Yes.
Nice. What were the influences, I guess, for Malice?
I'm a big fan of horror. But I think during like maybe my middle school years, Japanese horror kind of took off, like The Ring and The Grudge and things like that. I remember my schoolmates came to school one day and told me he had a tape in his backpack, which was forbidden in school. But he had a tape. I was like, what kind of tape? It's like, he said, if you watch it, you will die. I was like, okay, what? Let's go watch it at my house after school, right? So it turns out it was The Ring. It was the movie, right? So that really made me really fascinated with Japanese horror and the type of terror that it instills in people. Right. So yeah, I guess you can see like the main influence of Malice would be Japanese horror. So it left a very lasting impression on me. So yeah, I love Japanese horror.
Was there any instance where you guys thought, oh, maybe we should go for like a Southeast Asian setting, with Pontianaks and stuff like that?
Yes, we kind of toyed around with the idea a little bit, but I guess it was a bit more feasible because Malice was actually based on one of the escape rooms that I created back then, right? Before 2016. So I already had the designs for it, but it was just like a backbone, right? You could say if you compare those two things now, probably 20% of what was in the escape room is in the game, right? So we expanded to much more than that. So it was based on an escape room that I designed back then, but yeah, so we just thought that would be a better route to take.
I see.
Yeah.
So could Malice work as a physical escape room right now?
It could.
It could?
It could. Yeah. Actually, I've thought about it as well. Yes, it would work as a physical escape room.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it was like meticulously designed in that way that it could translate no matter what?
Yes.
So what was the challenges that you guys faced as a team while making Malice?
I suppose it is the overall inexperience of the team where we ran into a lot of problems we didn't foresee, basically, right? Especially for a multiplayer game, there's a lot of things that we didn't realize that we needed to do. Things like replication, right? Basically, you're telling the host and the client the same thing, right? I've opened this door, and for the client, that door is not open because you didn't tell it to. right? So you sort of like have to program it twice, kind of thing, right? So that's called replication. Yeah, at the beginning we didn't know we had to do that. So yeah, so it's just sort of like us figuring out a lot of things in the dark, and I think overall in experience, basically just the skill level of a lot of our people. I would the team came together. I guess I have to talk a little bit about the team.
Yeah, sure.
Right, at the start, it was basically just 3 people, 2 artists, and then there was just this programmer. Right, so it's just me and 3 other people working on the prototype. And after that, when we felt that this is something that we could kind of make into something more full-fledged, right, we started taking on people. Most of them were fresh grads. In experience, maybe to the level of interns as well. So there were some hiccups here and there, and then problems that we saw we didn't see coming. There were a lot of times that we had to kind of reset the project because someone accidentally wiped out a part of the code. Yeah.
Wow.
So that happened, but of course we did some backups and stuff like that. So generally, inexperience would be what I said would be the main thing.
I see. Okay. And you guys built this game with Unreal Engine.
Yes, we did.
So with Unreal being taught in schools, did it kind of like help make the process easier for you guys to make the game? Or?
Yeah, it certainly does help. They had a basic understanding of Unreal and things like that. And of course, with resources online nowadays, you can basically just self-teach. So we did a lot of that as well. Just the programmers sitting together watching a YouTube video. Yeah, so we did a lot of that. But the school teaching Unreal, I guess it did help. We didn't have to like, take this 7-day course to get yourself familiarized with Unreal. We still do that with some of the incoming ones because they've never touched Unreal. Some interns or new fresh grads that come in.
Was it easy to pick up for them, Unreal Engine?
Yeah, Unreal, I think they made it very easy for people to pick it up. But if you really want to master Unreal, that takes a long time, right? So it's very, I suppose, very extensive.
Yeah,
it's very beginner friendly, but yeah, it's got capabilities that you need a lot of time to kind of catch. Yeah.
Would you say using Unreal Engine made the game not only look more realistic but scarier? Yes,
definitely, in some sense. I think what's important would be the lighting capabilities of Unreal, right? The light just behaves differently in Unreal if you compare it to other engines. So to us, atmosphere was kind of like what we were going for, and that was one of the most important things, right? We have to have atmosphere, and we want a very oppressive atmosphere so that the players can feel it, right? Because our game don't really have like big chase scenes. It's not supposed to do that. So we want this sense of dread to be felt by the players at all times. So atmosphere and the sound design was something that we wanted to really nail. And I think we did an okay job for the atmosphere. So part of that was because Unreal did give us a lot of tools to work with, volumetric lighting and stuff like that, dynamic shadows. So that gave us a lot of atmosphere building elements, right? So yeah, definitely Unreal has been quite instrumental in our objectives.
At least on IGN Southeast Asia's end, our article on Malice, really went big, and people seem to gravitate towards it online. But from your side, how has the reception been to the game? Like when it comes to its gameplay, its setting?
Right. I mean, if the reception was half as good as it was on the IGN article, I think I would be quite happy. But I think there has been some, I don't know if you call it miscommunication or mismarketing, or I wouldn't call it mismarketing, but it's more like a misunderstanding of the audience, right? So we kind of picked up a lot of steam, a lot of attention from the China audience, right? And because of the way that we structured our multiplayer system, playing through a VPN, which is what a lot of China audience did, that's just bad news, right? It didn't translate well. So basically, there were a myriad of bugs that occurred because of the network, right? So they were, for example, player A will go through a door, opens up the door, unlocks it and opens up. But for player B, he wouldn't see that because of the connection issues with VPN, right? So it caused a lot of problems for us in the China market alone. Right. So if you look at the Steam store page right now, it's overwhelmingly negative, right? Which is kind of disappointing. But if you look at the other languages, especially for Japan or Thai, they were mainly positive, right? 7 out of 10 are really good comments. Mainly talking about the fact of that the atmosphere is really good. And Thai audience really like it when you localize their games for them. It's in their language that they understand. So they love that. So I don't believe that we made a horrible game that is overwhelmingly negative. But yeah, there was some miscommunication somewhere that happened on the internet. I heard that someone called the game the horror version of It Takes Two, which is exactly not that. It is probably the opposite of It Takes Two, right? Because our game is more like atmospheric, slow burn. You need to like kind of use your brain a little bit, while at the same time it lets you enjoy this horror and dreadful atmosphere, right? So I would say mixed reaction.
That's fair. Let's move on to you.
Okay, right.
What were your favorite games growing up?
My favorite game is always the same answer. It's this game by Bullfrog called Dungeon Keeper.
Oh, okay.
Right, it's got horror, it's got RPG elements, it's got base building. So as a kid, when playing that, I was just stunned by the in-depthness of it, right? Oh, you can do that? Oh, you can do that? So I think I finished that game 10 times, 12 times.
Wow.
Right? So I think even now, every 2-3 years, I go back to it. And yeah, I think that game kind of solidifies my love for PC gaming, I suppose.
Nice. Do you think you'll make a game like Dungeon Keeper?
I hope so. I hope so, yeah.
Nice. So, wow, this whole Malice thing has been such a learning experience for you and your team.
Yes, definitely.
So what were the key takeaways and some advice that you give to up-and-coming Southeast Asian developers?
Key takeaways, I think it's more of planning ahead. For us, at least, there were a lot of things that we didn't do in terms of planning, so that kind of led to some problems down the line. And we did a whole post-mortem session with the team, and I mean, they learned a lot as well. And yeah, moving forward, I believe that we are going to do better in terms of development pipeline, right? What advice would I give to future developers? I'm not sure, but I suppose you're never going to make the perfect game. My advice would be just start making something at least, right? And launch it and release it so that you can learn from it, right? The best way to learn is to just fail. That's always what I've learned. And if you fail a lot of times, then you get to learn a lot more. That's how I operate, I suppose.
Nice. Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for that really honest answer.
Okay.
All right. And I think that's it for today.
Right.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Okay.
Catch you guys next time.